Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitansha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataribhascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. Okay, so we are in chapter 15, so we'll just do a quick revision and we'll finish 15th chapter today probably and then move to the 16th chapter. So I see Vijay Gopi Mataji or Rasanand Prabhu. You want to do 15.12?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, text 12. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. Actually, as we are explaining, Prabhu, this 3, 12, 13, and 14 explains about the cosmological aspect and earth terrestrial aspect, and then 15 explains about the bodily level. So this one is the cosmological, in which Krishna says that Yat Aditya Gatam Tejo. So Aditya is the sunshine and Teja is the splendor. So he is the splendor of the sun. So as the sunshine, it dissipates the darkness, which is Jagat Bhashayate Kilam. Jagat is like the whole world. Bhashayate is the illuminates, and Akilam means like entire. So this splendor of the sun, it removes the darkness of the entire world. So that comes from Krishna. Similarly, even the moon, which is Chandramashi, and Agnya is fire. Agnya is fire. So they are the splendor of the moon and sun. Yat Chandramasi, Yat Yagnu. So that also comes from Krishna. So you said that like the Aditya, the sun is the first son of Aditi, and so as it says that the moon helps in the vegetation. So everything, the sun, the moon, and the fire, they all comes from Krishna. So that is what my note says.
Yes. So basically what we are saying, Krishna sustains the whole cosmos. Without his help, like without these three elements will not be here. Without sun, moon, and fire. So Krishna helps on that level. He sustains the whole cosmos. So we are going from top to bottom. Thank you, Mataji. Prasannan Prabhu, would you like to do the next one?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 13th verse 15th chapter. Translation. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of the life to all vegetables. Okay, as Vijay Gopi said, this section from 12 to 15 talks about Krishna as the maintainer. 12th verse talks about cosmological level. 13th verse, this verse talks about the terrestrial level or the earthly level. And the 14th verse talks about, on the physiological level, bodily level. And the 15th verse talks about the spiritual level. So here Krishna is highlighting the verse like, he is entering Gama, the planets, and Avishya entering into each living entity, Bhutani, and he is sustaining them, Dharamya. And he is the energy, Ojas. So he is the energy for this. Gam Vishaya entering into the planet, and he is the energy for all these things on the planet. And next thing is saying, I become the moon. I also the Pushnami. Pushnami as the nourishing. With the moon is the one which nourishes all the vegetables. Ausadi. So the Soma, here the moon is mentioned here as Soma. Soma, the moon. And he is the one who supplies the rasa, or the juice, supplying juice for all the vegetables. So two things basically is said here, that Krishna is entering into each and every planet, by which he is giving energy for all the living entity, and sustaining the living being in this earth. And he also becomes the moon who supplies the juice for all the vegetables and the plants.
And also you said about the medicines also. Aushadhi is medicines in the vegetables. So both the things are.
There's one more thing, I can't remember whether we discussed or Gam Avishya. So enter into the planets. So we're discussing about how the planets are staying in their orbit.
Yeah, gravitational force.
Gravitational force. So every planet sort of attracting each other, and the force is so perfect, they stay in their orbit all the time. We never heard an accident of planets, although we hear so many accidents in human creation. Planes get crashed, cars definitely, trucks and rails and everything human creates. But we see in Krishna's creation, everything is just perfect. I was hearing one lecture, and this Prabhuji was saying that we have never heard, even scientists have never heard planets colliding with each other. And the dust which they talk about sometimes, say the space dust, it's just a theory that some planets have collided in the dust from there. It's just a theory. It's not been proved as yet. So dust which we get from the space is not necessarily the result of the collision of planets, which they say. It's just a theory. So they have never recorded an incident that two planets, like they also know there's unlimited planets out there, they have never collided with each other. So that's the perfect creation of Krishna. We don't have those many cars actually, but Krishna has those many planets in the space, and invisible energy is sort of maintaining them. Never we heard that Jupiter or Pluto or any sort of planet have crossed their orbit because the fuel was less, couldn't land properly. I have just missed the orbit by 1 meter or something, and it is coming in the Earth orbit. Never. It's from time immemorial. It's been running like that, and it will be running like that. For Surya, they say, I heard in lecture again, probably 10 years ago, they predicted that after 100 years or something like a number scientists gave, the Surya will become cold. And then we heard in the next year, the Surya is becoming hotter and hotter because the temperature is increasing. So they keep throwing different theories. That's it. So 1 year they will say Surya will become cold. Surya's thanda ho jayega after 100 years. So some number they gave. I can't remember. And the next year they say, oh, Surya's temperature is increasing. And this Maharaj who was giving the class, he was saying, Surya temperature is always whatever it was. It's still there. It will be there till the time pralaya comes. And the scientists cannot calculate all that. So they keep giving different theories every now and then. And later they refuse their own theories. So Gama Vishya is very important. Krishna is maintaining all these planets. And I think Chaitanya Prabhu was also saying, someone may ask, so it's the gravitational force is maintaining them. Where is God here? So the question is, where does this gravitational force come from? Why can't you take 2 balls and run them in the space? You can't do that. Take 2 balls only. 2 only simple balls, take it and run it. You can't do that. But you're saying, oh, where is God? Without God, how does this perfect gravitational force has come? So it's a very important aspect how Krishna is maintaining everything. And we have the earth weight, I don't know, it's in like millions of tons, and so many skyscraper buildings, cars, so many jivas, so many paraphernalia. We are perfectly sitting in the room in our couch. Do we feel any emotion? Nothing, We're just sitting nicely and peacefully. This is Krishna's perfect arrangement. Okay, next one. Jai Dharma Prabhu, would you like to do something? Maharsa Prabhu, you have a question or just like?
No, Prabhu, I can do that, Prabhu. Thank you.
I think Maharsa Prabhuji has a question.
No, Prabhu, nothing.
Okay,
No,
sorry, I saw your hand. Yes, please, Jai Dharma Prabhu.
Okay. Translation: I am the fire of the digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff. So this is at the bodily platform level, what we were discussing. So the important words, Aham, Lord is Lord himself. So Vaishvanaro is the form of the Lord, which is, as Prabhupada translated here, the plenary portion of the digesting fire. So who assists in the digestion of fire. And Praninam for all the living entities. Deham, the body. Ashritaha, so it's again situated. And there are four kinds of air, what we discussed in the previous shlokas, which says about the apana, udana, samana,
Saman.
vyana.
Yeah, I think 6 types of air, right?
Yeah. So these airs were part of, like, they can be as part of the Ayurveda, they describe more detail. So these assist in the digestion of the food, which is again done when they mix with the life air. And due to that, Lord assists in Pachamyannam. So helps in digesting the annam in 4 different varieties, like which is what we drink or chew, suck, and
Lick.
Yeah. So yeah, and also I think in the Vishnu Sahasranama there is a shloka which says Brajishnur Bhojanam Bhokta Saishnur Jagadadijaha. So which means Lord, one is Bhojanam, he is the food. At the same time, he is the supplier of the food, and he is the Bhokta, he is the enjoyer of the food. And again, he is the one who goes and helps in digesting the food.
Very
So
well.
obviously, we are not doing anything except we are just trying to do it. But Lord is doing everything, is providing the food and helping us to digest. So we need the blessings of the Lord to digest. And also, I think you brought up a point where scientifically also it has been proven that transplanting all these other bodily elements can be done with some effort, but especially for digesting, the mechanism is so complex, and even you said like it may require almost like a factories kind of
Series
equipment.
of factories, it says.
So it's not a easy thing, but glad that the Lord is coming as Vaishvanara and helping us to digest whatever we eat. So we don't think how it is getting digested, but since Lord is helping all that, generating this fire, digesting fire, that's where it's helping.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank
I
you.
like that Vishnu Sahasranam thing. Lord is the bhojan, Lord is the supplier of the bhojan. Lord is helping to digest the bhojan, and Lord is the bhakta of the bhojan. This similar thing is given in 8th canto of Bhagavatam, in the churning of milk ocean is described. This is actually Vishnu was everywhere. Vishnu was as a kurma on the bottom. Vishnu was on the top of the churning rod, Mandarachal Parvat. Vishnu was sort of doing the churning, and Vishnu was the guide. So actually Vishnu was doing the whole thing, but there were hundreds and thousands of demigods and asuras thinking, oh, I am the doer, I am the doer. But actually it was Lord Vishnu everywhere. There's a picture as well, you may have seen. I mean, Lord Vishnu is just everywhere in that churning of the milk ocean. Beautiful picture. So where do we exist, and we take all the credit? Maine kiya hai. I have done it. Huh? I'm so great. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. 15. Ujjwal Rasa Mataji or Akhand Rasa Prabhu. Anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Verse 15, translation: I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. by all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Here again, Krishna is this is the spiritual aspect of how Krishna is helping everyone, and basically the jiva's tendency to enjoy is causing karshati, which is uh, the cause of suffering and the struggle for existence. But Krishna is kind enough to reside in everyone's heart and give us the guidance and knowledge. Basically, he's saying that I give the remembrance, the knowledge, and the forgetfulness. Everything is coming from him. So basically, he's seated in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. And also here it's saying that the actual Krishna is actually the compiler, the knower, and the goal of the Vedas, all three. So once anyone who knows that actually has a complete knowledge. So basically he gives us the remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Now here one question can arise that someone may say, okay, if some temptations come in and somebody gives in, even though he has the knowledge, he may choose to ignore it and then say, oh, Krishna has given me the forgetfulness, so I'm acting in that way. But I think we also discussed that Krishna is actually responsive and we are responsible. So we have to take responsibility for our actions, and based on our intention to forget or to remember, Krishna will enhance those aspects and help us in that way. So you just can't say, oh, it's Krishna's wish that I am forgetting it. So that's actually totally incorrect understanding, and it's negligence. So that needs to be understood.
And one example which comes to my mind, if a little child is asking mother for a candy or whatever, and mother will say, no, 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 I will not give you candy, and child is like, nay, 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 I want it, I want it, I want it. What does a finally mother will say? Okay, eat and let your all teeth come out. But child don't care. Children don't care. So they want to eat. So mother, not willingly, but just as a lovingly, gives the candy to the child. And then children eat and then they suffer. So similarly, Krishna doesn't want to give apohanam. But this is what a jiva wants. I want, a particular person or object. Krishna says, okay, you should not get it. Is not going to give you any pleasure. But no, I definitely want it. Krishna says, okay, take it. What can I say? So then Krishna, apohanam. Why did Krishna give apohanam? Because without apohanam, we cannot even enjoy that. Suppose you're eating a candy or watching a movie or cricket or whatever, right? Apohanam has to be there. Unless apohanam is there, can you enjoy? But when you start devotional service, I think Amrendra Prabhuji said very nicely, when we go to temple, we don't remember about movies. Temple is so attractive. But when we go and watch a movie, we remember about Bhagavad Gita classes. We remember all the things which we have read or heard. I should not watch. I should not watch. I should not watch. And he's still watching. Huh? So that sort of shows at least our values are changing. So although we may, so what I'm trying to say, without apohanam, you cannot enjoy the movie, isn't it? You need apohanam. So in the very beginning stage, Krishna gives apohanam, but later on, although apohanam is there, but at the same time, Gyan is also, Smriti is also there. Huh? And then slowly say, I'm wasting my time. It's all right. I've watched so many, they all same. Let me come out and do something useful in this particular 2 hours or 3 hours. Yes, Prabhuji.
So another thing of example of apohanam is that like somebody say before coming to Krishna consciousness, he was eating meat or something. Now, or onion and garlic, for example, which I was eating quite a lot.
Yes.
Now the same thing is now, even the smell is distasteful. So that way the Krishna is actually now increasing that forgetfulness, for us.
Yes,
So
it's absolutely valid. Many things, I'm not talking about a certain level, gross level, which we used to like. Now even the thought of it, we don't like it. So for those, the apohanam has happened. It may be some gross things. But similarly, if we keep working on this direction nicely, for the subtle things also, Aponam will happen. Many things which we are struggling at the moment, Aponam will come later. Like sannyasis, they don't have to struggle with Maya. We struggle with Maya. Huh? And Chaitanya Prabhu was saying, just a simple example, he was saying, for a neophyte, when Maya attacks, neophyte says, wait. For little advanced, when the Maya attacks, he says, no, 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 no. And for a sannyasi or something like that, very highly advanced person, when the Maya attacks, sannyasi says, get out, get out. A neophyte says, just wait, abhi samay nahi hai. This is not the right time, come later. And we all experience that, isn't it? Many times we have these, this so-called sleeping desires. Huh? They come up and then we say, okay, not now, maybe. Huh? Right now I'm in the temple, maybe when we are alone. Huh? Radhanath Maharaj says, your advancement will be judged in something like that. He said, in what you do when you are alone. So your advancement is not how many verses you can recite in front of 50 devotees. Everyone can do that. That's not such a big deal. The big deal is when you are alone and what sort of activity you get involved in and how you deal with those sort of temptations. That's where you are. And every one of us can judge ourselves, where our thoughts take us to. How do we react to those thoughts? So all of us may look a very nice devotee in front of others with nice dhoti, kurta, tilak and all that. But that's not the reality. The reality is in our heart. How many desires still need to be transformed? So it's not bad. At least we are struggling with the desires. Failures are not bad. It's not said you should just become successful overnight. But the point is, we know where we are and how far we have to go. That's what the point is. Extremely good thing. We have started the journey. So no matter how many failures we face on the way, but we know where we are. Others may glorify you, Prabhu, senior devotee. And you feel like really, really. So that's our situation, not others, what others perceive. We know in our heart what's going on and how we should desperately pray to Nityananda Prabhu or Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Please get rid of these subtle elements here because there's so much here. Then the real advancement will come. Otherwise, it may be just intelligence, isn't it? Some people are very intelligent and they can quote verses. Brahman and cobbler story, we all know that. Huh? Brahman was able to quote so many verses. Cobbler didn't know anything. But cobbler was a greater advanced devotee. So that's where we have to sort of aspire that, I think when Maharaj was saying, I can't remember who, but heart transformation. Yeah, information, and no transformation. So much information we are receiving and we may be able to quote it as well. Huh? But is our heart changing? That's what is needed. And we'll read these qualities in 16th chapter. What Krishna is expecting from us. We'll read pretty soon. So our goal should be the transformation of those desires. At least Chaitanya Prabhu said, our values should change, if not the behavior. Values means what we used to enjoy earlier, now we don't enjoy it anymore. Although we may be still doing it because of our old habits, because of our conditions of life, we may still be doing those things, but at least we should not enjoy, like a simple example of smoking or drinking. Huh? Some person may at least start thinking, no, smoking is bad, drinking is bad. So their values are changed. The behavior may not change overnight. That may take long time. So at least our values should change and slowly our behavior should also change. Then the real progress happens. Otherwise, it's all external. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Shrama evi. In the morning we read after Mangala Arati. What's the verse we read? Not Bahunam Janmanamante, a similar thing which we read. Tabu Tanapaya Krishna Pade Premdhana. What is that verse beginning? It starts with Bahu, and I always get confused with 719. Bahunam Janmanamante.
बहु जन्म करिए
Bahu
यदि
Janme
श्रवण
Karyate
कीर्तन
Shravan Kirtana. Tabu Tanapaya Krishna Pade Premdhana. Thank you, Mahasu Prabhu. So we may be able to chant verses, read Bhagavatam, go and take devotee association, still not get the love of Godhead. Because something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something major is wrong. Keshav Maharaj said to look like a devotee is very easy. To be a devotee is very difficult. So all these teachings of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, this devotee association, Bhakti Shastri, all should lead to that one thing. Are we changing? Are we changing? If we are not changing, Maharaj said, you can take a danda, very bright saffron clothes, big kanti mala. It's all external. It's all external. Sannyas danda is also external if our heart has not changed, the mind has not changed. So all the goal should be focused on that one aspect, and everything external which we do, which is nice, should lead to that internal change. So if we have that goal, then things will go very nicely. If external is the goal, which actually, sorry to say, in our devotee community as well, you can feel many times, it's just external, just external. So we should try to associate with those whose internals have changed, and then our internals will change as well. Otherwise, we'll stay as external. Many, many lives will be just take birth and reborn again. That's not what we want, preferably at least. So this Jnanam Apohanam Smriti is very, very important. Although Krishna is doing it, but for what purpose? Because this is what we want. So from Jnana, it can go on the left as a Smriti or go on the right as Apohanam, depending on our desires. If our desire change, Krishna will do Apohanam for us for all the lust, greed, anger. We struggle with all these. I can say about myself at least, we struggle. Why? Because the Apohanam is not happening. Why Apohanam is not happening? Because Krishna is not doing it. Why Krishna is not doing? Because our internal core desires are still. This world is a beautiful place and I can enjoy in this world. No one has ever done it, but we still have hope. We still have hope. 4 projects failed in life, but the 5th one is definitely going to be a success. Sorry to say, 5th is also going to fail. It is going to fail. It's definite. 100% is going to fail. Material projects will fail. Only spiritual projects will be successful. And we always put our priority upside down. Material up, spiritual down. There are many devotees, maybe for many material aspects, they are not present on the call. We should put a spiritual cause on the first, as much as possible. Krishna, Devkinanda Prabhu said, if you put Krishna as priority, that Krishna will give you more time to do other things. The problem is we don't put Krishna as priority. We put material things as priority. Krishna is last. When we finish all the activities, then we'll join the class. So yeah, we have to do few activities, but anyway, so Jnanam Apohanam Smriti is a very, very nice word. And we have to focus on the Apohanam, all these material pleasures. Which Krishna is able to do, but he's not doing it because our core is not changed. Okay, what's the connection between first and second? Anyone can tell? Although Akhand Rasa Prabhu has explained very nicely. What's the connection between this first, Matta Smriti Vijnanam Apohanam Cha, and immediately Krishna says, Vedaisha Sarver Aham Eva Vedyo. What's the connection between these 2 sections?
Yeah, because Veda only gives knowledge, Prabhu.
Thank you, Madhava. So this Jnana, which is sort of our starting point, is coming from Veda. And saying, okay, the Vedas are so much. So Krishna said, no problem. I'm a Vedya, you just know me, and all done. All job is done. Yagyapatnis, Brahmana Yagyapatnis knew Krishna very well, but the Yagyic Brahmanas didn't know Krishna. So don't worry about all the Vedas. Prabhupada said, I have given you enough to go back to Godhead. Some person I was speaking with, he was saying, I'll not name it, another Sampradaya, which I didn't know about. And he was saying, Prabhupada has given the basics only. And I was really very surprised on this statement. Yes, really? And then my next question was, can you do the basics only? Okay, you're on advanced level. Prabhupada didn't give advanced thing. First, this statement is not true, but even if you consider that, can you do the basics? Only 4 books. And I was like, literally, you have done Bhagavatam, you have done Chaitanya Charitamrita. Really? If this statement is made that I've done Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's a basic book. Really? Chaitanya Charitamrita is a basic book. Bhagavatam is a bhagavad book, and you have done it. Wow, it's a big statement people make, like blindly. If you have done Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, you will not be here. If you have really done it, huh? And you are calling, Prabhupada gave only basics. Wow, very big statement. And this shows how shallow this person's thinking is, how shallow this, he hasn't done anything, literally. It says, no, whoever says, I know, he doesn't know anything. Whoever says, I don't know, he knows something. Huh? So really, when we read, we know actually how much we don't know. Without reading, we think, Are, one Mataji, I went for a program and she was talking about a person, maybe a brahmachari from our temple, selling Bhagavad Gita, trying to sell Bhagavad Gita to her in the city somewhere, and she was being very proud. This brahmachari, this foreign body brahmacharis was selling Bhagavad Gita to me, and I was like, what's wrong with that? I know all the Bhagavad Gita. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Someone making the statement, I know the Bhagavad Gita. Very big statement. So Prabhupada has given everything in perfection which is needed for us going back to Godhead. Otherwise, knowledge-wise, there is no limit. Only Krishna knows. Even Arjun says that Krishna, only you know your glories. No one else knows. No one else knows. But what we have in our hands is more than sufficient to go back to Godhead. If we can just practice. Prabhupada was with Shruti Kirti Prabhu, and he explains this very nice narration. I really like it. He was reading Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada was reading Nectar of Devotion. And Prabhupada, the servant Shruti Kirti Prabhu, was sitting close to Prabhupada. And so Prabhupada was just reading some chapter. And Prabhupada was so happy reading his own book. And he said to Shruti Kirti Prabhu in ecstasy, he said, if someone reads just this one book, he goes back to Godhead. And Shruti Kirti Prabhu nodded the head. Fine. And then after a few minutes, Prabhupada said, if someone reads even one chapter, he will go back to Godhead. And Shruti Kirti Prabhu nodded his head. And then Prabhupada reading again, out of ecstasy, like a child, he's sort of revealing, someone reads even one page. And then finally Prabhupada said, even someone reads one line, he can go back to Godhead. So this Prabhupada is speaking one line. That means we can learn just one line and make that line as our goal of life. He can go back to Godhead. So much potency is there in these books. Even one line, one verse. In Padma Puran, 4 Kumaras telling Narad Muni in the Bhagavad Mahatmya, very clear statement written by 4 Kumaras. Even if someone reads 1/4 shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam daily, and sincerely, he can go back to Godhead. 1/4 of the shloka of Bhagavatam. This is the statement of Sanat Kumaras to Narad Muni in Padma Puran, Bhagavatam Mahatmya. 1/4 of the shloka. Now, how difficult is that? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can say that. But it has some depth in it, obviously. But so much potency is there in this Shastra in one verse, in half verse. And they also say like that. If someone reads one verse, then they say half verse, then they say even quarter a verse. If someone reads, he can go back to Godhead. So much potency is there in these books. So if we are able to read something which is coming in parampara, it just adds the potency and it makes our life much easier. We just have faith, we follow, and then we go back to Godhead. Okay, Sakhi Radhika Mataji wants to add something.
I wanted to ask a question.
Yes,
So this
Mata.
is just an introspection I've been doing. So Prabhu, when we have kids, our desires, the internal desires shifts. It's not that it has finished, but it shifts from us to the kids, and then eventually to their kids. Like I'm scared of future also. So Prabhu, here even though we have knowledge of this attachment, and even though like there is this apohana happening, like what is the, I understand we can follow the process and everything. I've seen devotees doing that, but I can talk about my mother. She's been practicing Krishna consciousness from so long. Everything is, I can see she's changing, but she's now so attached to my kids also. So, and all her desires are shifted, and which also gives her pain because she's not able to meet, or so just that how to help, like even if we know have the knowledge, but we can't control it, like desires, how can we help ourselves in such a way?
Thank you, Mata. Very nice and practical question. And a simple answer is, you make chapatis, Mataji, I'm sure you would make chapatis. If some days, chapatis are not coming out nice, what does your mother say or your grandmother says? Aata theek se nahi mada hai. You haven't kneaded the dough properly, huh? Or you have put the water quantity too much or too little, or you haven't put this or that. No, your grandmother will tell you, or your mother will tell you, huh? What's the problem with the atta? That's why the roti is not coming nice. So if the product is not coming out, the processing hasn't been done properly. Sorry. That is the answer. We haven't processed the Shastra properly. It doesn't mean how many verses you know or your mother know. That's not the point here. You haven't processed the Shastra properly as yet. Although we may be in Krishna consciousness for 20 years or 40 years, we haven't actually churned it properly. If we would have churned it properly, you will become very aware of, like Prabhupada also loved kids. Prabhupada had many disciples who had very young kids, and Prabhupada was very affectionate. It's mentioned Prabhupada was mentioned to his disciples, to their well-being. One thing which comes to my mind straight away, and there are many examples. Prabhupada's class happened in one place, and I've heard it's like hundreds of devotees were there. Somewhere in India, hundreds of devotees, the hall was completely jammed-packed up, and the kirtan was going on, and one foreign body devotee, he was limping. He had some problem in his left or right leg. He was limping while jumping and dancing. So Prabhupada called him and he said, what happened? And he explained. And Prabhupada told him a home medicine, something. He said, you do that and your leg will be nice. He met with Mataji and said, so how's your kid? How's your Prabhuji? So Prabhupada was very much concerned. So concerning about your kids or you from your mother's side is very natural, and it should be there because you are the family. But if it is coming in the core of our heart, is becoming an obstacle, that means we haven't done the process properly. That's a simple answer. And that's why we are reading Mahavasu Prabhu helping me to remember that was for many, many births we can do this so-called practice of Krishna consciousness. Is still not getting the results. So we haven't done the job properly. That's what a simple answer is. Otherwise, Krishna consciousness is very, very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. It has to act. It cannot not act. It cannot not act. And Shastra says even one Ram Nam or any name of Krishna acts like a fire. You touch the fire knowingly or unknowingly, fire will burn you. Fire will not excuse you. Oh, you didn't know, you're watching other side and you touch me. No. So similarly, Krishna consciousness will burn your arthas. It may take time because our attachments are very deeply rooted and we're not working on the roots. It will take time. Someone doing a lot of offenses, they will take time. So, and that's for everyone. It's not saying I'm also same. So that's the answer. Otherwise, people take sannyas at the age of 17. How did they do that? I'm remembering His Holiness Jai Pataka Maharaj. 1 week of joining Krishna consciousness. 1 week coming from a very wealthy family, very handsome, good-looking, very educated person, respectable family. Like these are all things which we aspire for. He had everything. He left everything, shaped up, joined very soon, took sannyas. Now I don't know how many years, 60 years or something, has been a sannyasi. Thousands and thousands of lives he has changed. So it's not a matter of time, actually. Prabhupada said it can change in one moment. It's a matter of sincerity. But again, externals, we should not judge. External should be there, like having a love for the kid and the family is very natural, and it should be there. Arjun cried when Abhimanyu died. My Guru Maharaj said in one class, he said, if Arjun would not cry, I will not join Krishna consciousness. He said that. Arjun was a father. His son died. He says, very natural for a father to cry on the death of his young son. So he says, because this movement is very personal, I am here. So this movement is very, very personal. So we should never sort of say, oh, you're too attached or this and that. But we know what we are saying. There's one behavior and there's again one values. So when the time comes, we should be able to quit. Radhanath Maharaj said, your attachment will be shown in how long you take to give up something. We're talking material, obviously, when the time comes for leaving. You're living in a big house, and if time comes for Krishna consciousness to leave the house, so your Krishna consciousness advancement will be judged. Oh, mera ghar, mera swarg lok, my chair, my bed, my sofa. Now, Prabhupada disciples could leave. When Jamuna Mataji describes this incident when Prabhupada with some other disciples were traveling in India from A to B, I can't remember where, somewhere from north towards the south. Jamuna Mataji was in the train with Prabhupada and some other disciples. One gentleman came and having a conversation with Prabhupada, and he said, I can help you to make a temple in Delhi. Prabhupada said to Jamuna Mataji, you get down at the next stop with this person. She got down. This lady, young lady, foreign-bodied lady, doesn't know the Indian languages, doesn't know anyone in Delhi. She just have one suitcase or a bag. She gets down on the next stop, and Prabhupada said, he will help you to build a temple. Can any one of us do that? I can't. This is called surrender to the Guru. Huh? So she would have her excuses as well. Prabhupada, I'm a lady, I'm this India, I don't know Hindi, I don't know this person, where is going to take? Huh? Prabhupada judged the situation, obviously. Prabhupada was very, very smart in that sense. No one could cheat Prabhupada. And he said, Mataji, you please get down and do the necessary thing. Just imagine the surrender of these people. And that's how they advanced. How much surrender we have to judge. It's an open question. We have to judge. So Radhanath Maharaj very clearly said your advancement will be judged when the time comes for leaving. So how quick we can leave for Guru and Krishna? How quick? Answer will be just ye kaam nipta le. Just let me finish this task. Let me finish my son's marriage. Let me finish my son's education, or repair work is going on. I have a mortgage, this and that. And then definitely Guru Maharaj, I am just coming. Okay. Sorry, I think we get the answer.
Yes, Prabhu. Just that I've realized that my question was in mode of passion. I'm just looking in this lifetime. But as you told, Radha Govind Maharaj says it minimum takes 15 to 20 lifetimes.
He said
And
that.
also,
If you are sincere, if you're very sincere.
and also
Very sincere, he said that.
yeah, very sincere. So it would be even more. And I also remember that point where His Holiness Kadam Kanand Maharaj said that I promise you that the process works. So just we just do the process, just as Yamuna Mataji must have been following the process previously, and that's how she could do. Maybe we will also land up somewhere with,
Or maybe not. We cannot just necessarily say, oh, this devotee might be practicing for 100 lifetimes. I've just started. They're all external things, actually. 100 lifetimes are not necessary. Not necessary. If
maybe
you
just
have
coming with
sincerity,
Prabhupada.
to serve, come in contact with Prabhupada. Now, again, not every single Prabhupada disciple followed Prabhupada the same way. Many followed in a lenient way, many followed in a very strict way, and many left Prabhupada as well. So it varies case to case. But anyway, we can try to become a better one. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
Who they are,
This
we don't
15,
know.
16 lifetimes it seems very long, because I've also heard that one can even go back if one is sincere in 3 lifetimes.
In one lifetime.
Three lifetimes.
No, I'm saying in one lifetime. You can go technically.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying technically. You don't have to wait for another lifetime. And it says, as per Rupa Goswami, you can become fully Krishna conscious right now. Jivan Mukta. You don't have to leave the Jivan, leave the life, and then go to the next life as Krishna has said. No. So technically, anything is possible. Practically. So when you're talking about 15 to 20 lifetimes like Maharaj, basically he's saying if you are very sincerely following everything, roughly that's how it's going to take. But technically, a movement, that's the answer. Okay, so thank you. This is a very, very nice verse, and we should take inspiration from this verse. We don't get into more Apohanam. We already have so much Apohanam. Let's try further. Okay, what's the connection between 15 and 16? Who is the next one? Satyabhama Mata, you are in the screen. If you like to do.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. And in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. So Prabhuji will take few important words from Sanskrit here. Dvavima.
Mataji, sorry. Before we get inside the verse, can we do a context of this verse? What's the context of this verse? Where does it come from? What's the connection between the previous verse, if you remember? Otherwise, someone else can do.
So Prabhuji, in the previous verse, Krishna was saying that he is residing in everyone's heart. and he's the from him only the forgetfulness and the attachment comes, remembrance comes. Sorry, so remembrance and the forgetfulness comes, and he is the knower of Veda as well. So in the previous verse.
Yes, Mother. So the word Vedanta is important here. So Vedanta, the conclusion of Vedanta. So basically, Krishna saying, I am the conclusion of Vedanta. And then with the connection of word Vedanta, we go to the next verse, which is 15.16. And this is known as Tri Shloki, the essence of Vedanta, or Tri Shloki Bhagavad Gita. What's the essence of Vedanta? So Krishna describes a whole Vedanta, which is a very complex book, into these 3 verses. So that's how this verse starts. Now, Mataji, you can go inside the verse.
Okay. So, Dvavimo means 2. Purusha means living entity. Loke means in this world, material world. Sharaha means fallible. Akshara means infallible. And Kutastho Akshara means the one, Kutastho Akshara, the one who is in oneness with the Supreme. So
basically in the spiritual world, you can say.
World, yes. So in this, Prabhu, we have mentioned that in this material world, everything is fallible. So even for you've given the Brahman,
Maybe we can say everything is difficult like a table. This is a dead matter. We're not talking about Prakriti here. We're just talking about the jivas here. So maybe you can say everyone refers to the jivas, because we're not talking about Prakriti here.
Yes, yes. So every jiva in this material world is fallible. So all bhutas basically are fallible. And the one who is a mukta jiva is in the spiritual world would be called as akshara.
Yeah.
So it is infallible.
Yes, Mataji. That's what Prabhupada writes. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is infallible. Yeah.
Whether it is from Brahman to a little ant, everything is fallible. And why it is fallible? Because everyone goes through the birth, growth, 6 stages of life, which is birth, growth, and duration, reproduction, dwindling, and vanishing. However, this doesn't happen in the spiritual world.
Yes.
That jiva is in oneness with the Supreme Lord.
Yeah. In qualities, not in quantity.
Yes.
So when we use the oneness, we have to just add that star. Okay, thank you, Mata. Yes, Jai Dharma Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhu. There are some exceptions, isn't that? Like especially the Paramahamsas or the Jivan Muktas, although they are living in the material world, can they be considered like infallible?
No. Yes, Prabhuji. So when we say they are fallible, that does not mean they will definitely fall down. That means the tendency of falling down is there. Huh? It's not like every single jivana, every single Brahma will come down. Not like that. They have a tendency to fall down. Like when you're driving the car on the road, can you have accident? What's the answer? If I have to say yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, right? You can't say no, I cannot have accident. Like I remember this Titanic, even God cannot sing this in the first trip. Finished, huh? This is material world. Huh? So they have tendency to fall down. They can fall down. It does not necessarily mean they will fall down. Prabhupada is also here. Many acharyas, Ramanujacharya, Madhavacharya, Ishwarpuri, Madhavendra, so many acharyas are there. Huh? So they are not fallible. They have come from the spiritual world. They are in the garb of a normal human person. They are not normal human person. They are special agents of Krishna who are here to save us. So definitely we're not talking about those jivas. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Ujjwala Samataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, we were talking about the Kutastha, which is oneness. So oneness of the quality, not the quantity. And also I've heard that there is oneness of interest, that both have the same interest.
Yes.
But I'm a little puzzled about this because the jiva, not the liberated beings in the spiritual world, their only interest is to serve the Lord.
Yes.
And the Lord is the supreme enjoyer. So in what sense are they talking about the oneness of interest?
Okay, so
Enjoyment? Is it the enjoyment?
no, service. So Lord is also serving his devotees in the spiritual
Okay.
world, in the material world as well. So in the material world, when someone serves us, generally speaking, we feel good. If someone is, making prasadam for you, or physically massaging your body or whatever, we feel quite good about it, and we hardly think about giving it back. And when we become devotees, you realize anyone serves you even smaller, in a very small way, you want to give them something back, not as a transaction purpose, but oh no, this devotee is helping me, I need to. Just a small quantity of that gratefulness comes in our heart. And as you grow, you will feel actually you don't want to take something from someone, rather you want to give service to everyone. Now, it does not mean you cannot accept gifts and you cannot accept prasadam and all that. Definitely you accept. But as Radhanath Maharaj Ji said very nicely, you accept prasadam or gifts from other devotees in the spirit of serving them. If someone has got a nice shawl for you from Vrindavan, you accept the shawl in the mood of service to them, that by me accepting the shawl, this devotee will become happy. So you're not saying, oh, thank you, I was looking forward to it. Thank you, beta. You got shawl for me. No, we accept the shawl or any small gift or big gift in the mood of serving them, that by me, suppose someone invites you for prasadam and you go, no, I don't want. Will you feel good? He's invited you for prasadam, and if you go and eat nicely, actually that person will become very happy. If your kids are there, you cook nice prasadam. When they eat nicely, you become happy. If they don't eat, "Arey, kuch khai nahi raha hai. Today my kid or grandkid is not eating anything." Actually, you will be upset. A mother will be upset by not eating. But if the kids eat, they overeat, chalega. Everyone is sitting together. Usually they eat 4 chapatis. Today they had 6 chapatis. The mother will be actually happy. Mama, give me more. They'll be very happy. So this is the spirit, because mama wants to serve the kid. But if another place you go and reject, or someone comes to your place and rejects your prasadam offer, you will feel actually a little bad. I'm not such a bad devotee. No, I have some devotion. I have offered this. So anyway, so you accept. So accepting is not a problem. Anything offered with love, we accept. But we accept in the mood of serving them. So if we have that mood of service, so Lord is also serving them. Lord is just not taking the service. Lord is giving them the service. And that's why the entities in the spiritual world are so happy and so fulfilled. And why we are frustrated? Because first we want to get service from others, which we don't get. And the second, we have very little tendency of serving others.
So Krishna is also accepting the service,
Definitely.
and he is also serving them by accepting that service.
Yes,
Is it what you mean?
and by giving them full reciprocation. If a bee wants to serve Krishna in the spiritual world, the bee is completely happy. When the bee comes, Krishna doesn't say, hey, shh, get out from here, you're disturbing me. Krishna is happily hearing the song of bee. And in Bhagavatam, there's a song of bee. It says, when a bee sings in the spiritual world, even the koel stops singing. Koel, who is the greatest singer, in the spiritual world also, the koel is there. What do you call koel in English? I don't know. Cuckoo? Is that the right translation? I'm not sure. Anyway, for Vijay Gopi Mataji, she may not know the koel, cuckoo.
Nightingale.
Nightingale? Okay, whatever. You
Yes,
understand?
Prabhu. Avina.
We call it koil.
Koil.
Koel. So you understand, similar word. So in the spiritual world, when koel is singing and a bee comes and starts singing, koel stops. Why? This devotee is glorifying Krishna, and his glorification is better than my glorification. Now, externally, you can say, oh, Krishna has given me better vocal cords than you. You stop. I should sing, In spiritual world, everyone is respecting each other so much, and that's why their heart is so fulfilled. They're just happy. And here, when you go to a marriage and photographers say, smile, please, because we never smile. People have to say, smile, and then also we don't smile. And Lal Govind Prabhuji said in a class, and then we fight with the photographer. You don't know how to take photo. Photographer, what he can do, you never smile. So your sad face came in the photo. So why you are blaming the photographer? You are not happy. So we are not happy because of this lack of reciprocation in the material world, which gets completely fulfilled in the spiritual world. Even a bee is happy, quail is happy, peacock is happy. My son was asking actually a day before, we're talking about animals of Krishna anyway. So he was asking, does Krishna has a cockroach and ant as well? I said, beta, I don't know. I only heard till dog. Krishna has a dog. That's I'm sure about it. But Krishna has a cockroach. I had to say I don't know the answer actually. I'm not sure if any one of you know. Is asking, some complex questions. Does Krishna has an ant? Maybe yes. I haven't read it, so I can't literally say 100%. Anyway, the point is Krishna satisfies everyone, and they have this relationship was not boss and employee. They have relationship of love, which we don't have in this material world, and that's why we are frustrated many times.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. I don't know how we came
Prabhu,
here. Okay, Jai Dharma
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji asked. Yes, Prabhu, I'll just come back in 1 second. Jai Dharma Prabhu, you okay now? With this question of fallible for these.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir, Sananda Prabhuji.
No, Prabhu, when you said about the ant, I remembered the story of Krishna and Satyabhama. In that Satyabhama doesn't come and she asks, where are you? Krishna says, I've gone to feed everyone and come. So then Satyabhama, she says, let me take an ant and put in a box and let me see how Krishna is feeding it.
Yes.
So she puts in a box and she closes it.
Yes.
And then after 2 days, she says, from her tilak, rice has fallen, that fed the ant.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like for Gaurav Gopal, you can say, yes, ant is there in spiritual world.
I heard that pastime as well, but we don't know where that pastime has happened. I heard that pastime that I've heard from Lakshmi Devi or Satyabhama. I've heard from Lakshmi Devi. Anyway, it doesn't matter, same thing. And she said, how this ant survives. Krishna said, I had made that 1 grain of rice fall into that matchbox. Anyway, we don't know where this pastime is a Puranic pastime, and I've heard that, but the place of this pastime, we don't know. Anyway,
the source of it. Okay.
It's an open question.
It's also that grasshopper, I know that.
Grasshopper. Okay, here we are. See?
Yeah, I've heard a lecture wherein it was told that in some of the books written by Goswamis, it says that Krishna even comes, we have very little knowledge. Krishna comes for insects also, and among grasshoppers, he comes as the most beautiful grasshopper.
Yes, but that's again in the material world, Mataji.
Okay.
So yes, Krishna comes to all the species. Kunti Maharani says that in one of the verses, he says, you come in Tiryang. Tiryang means animals. So you come in all the species. Kunti Maharani says this. Anyway, it may be there or may not be there. We don't have to make a good discussion about it. But yeah. Okay, let's move forward. 15, 16, 17. Rupam Prabhu has just joined. So maybe we can request Rupam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So I'll start with the translation. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. So in the last class, we discussed about 3 different levels. Prabhu, this is the 3rd level, which is at a Paramatma level. So Krishna says, Uttama Purusha Svatva Anya, that apart from the previous 2, there is another level, another entity, which is the Uttam, which is the Uttam Purush, which is the Paramatma level. Then as Paramatma, Krishna enters Yo Loka Trayam Avishasya. So as Paramatma, he enters into the 3 lokas, and Biharti Ananya Avyaya Ishvara. Again, he maintains the Ishwar group, or the 3 levels at a cosmos level, terrestrial level, and at a body level.
That was Prabhuji for 15:12 to 16. Sorry, 15:12 to 15. So this is your 3 levels are correct. So first one was Brahman level, this is Paramatma level, and the next one will be Bhagavan level. That cosmos one was 15, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Yeah, I'm saying though he maintains himself. Krishna maintains himself in all the 3 levels.
Okay, sorry. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, got your point. So he maintains at 3 levels. Okay, thank you.
3 levels. And he at the end he says Avyaya, which is inexhaustible. So that's all.
Okay. Yeah. So the main word we can say is Anyaha. So besides the Chara and Akshara, there is Anyaha. There's a third category, which is the Uttam Purusha. The last one, Mahasa Prabhu, would you like to do? Bhagavan level.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes. Besides, I am the transcendental, beyond birth, and fallible and the infallible. And because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. So this verse is a continuation of the summary of the Vedanta Sutra, right? So in that, after explaining the fallible, infallible, then the Uttama Purusha, now Krishna is speaking about the most prime and the controller, right? And who is the creator, right? And he's the greatest. And he's greatest because he's not only greatest, but he's also been celebrated. That means he's been worshipped by all the 3 worlds. That's what it says in the previous as the 3 worlds, right? And here it says Yasma, that is because, Sharam, that is he to the fallible, Atitaha, that is transcendental, Aham, that is he. So he is actually transcendental and is infallible, right? And then it is Shara.
Basically, he's saying, Prabhuji, Atito Aham, I'm transcendental to Sharas. Yeah, so I'm Shara se upar hu, Shara se transcendental hu.
Yes. And then Akshara, that is beyond the infallible, Api
As
also
well.
Cha, and Uttama, and he is actually the best. That is, he's on, like everything rests on him, as we say, and he's beyond the fallible and the infallible.
Yes.
Right. So that's what he explained. Then Ati Ato Asmi Loke Vedecha. Right. So that means he says that even in the Vedas it is explained that one should actually worship the Supreme Lord. And that's what is actually takes us to the 15 where it says Vedescha Sarve Aham Eva Vedyo. Right. So that's how it gets connected to that. And then Pratitaha Purushottama. And that Supreme Being is actually worshipped. Celebrated is actually worshipped in all the 3 worlds.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Let's move to the next verse, 15-19. Vinay Prabhu, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Jo mam evam asamudha.
Yo mam evam asamudha.
Janati purushottamam.
Janati purushottamam.
Sarva vid bhajati mam.
Sarvid bhajati mam.
Sarva bhavena bharata.
Sarva bhavena bharata.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting in the knower of everything, he therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So this verse is coming straight after the 3 shloki Bhagavad Gita, or the essence of Vedanta Sutra. It sort of describes, okay, you know Vedanta Sutra, the essence of Vedanta Sutra, then what next? Yo mam evam asamudho. So one who knows me as Purushottamam, which we just described in 15-18, you are asamudha. So asamudha refers to, mudha is donkey. Samudha means Bhankar donkey square, and asamudha means all clear. All clear. So you're very intelligent, basically. Yeah? That's why. So who is the intelligent person? Who knows Krishna? Mam Krishna. Janati Purushottam. Who knows Krishna is the best? Only he is asamudha. That's one thing very clear. Now, okay, I know Narendra Modi is a Prime Minister of India. Okay, so what? Krishna is Purushottam, so what? Sa sarvid bhajati mam. Then what does he do? Sarvid, he knows everything, and then he does bhajati mam. How does he do bhajan? Grudgingly? I have to serve Krishna, you know what to do, he's the boss. No, sarva bhavena bharata. He does bhajan of Krishna with all the bhav. Any other verse you remember which sort of comes closer to this sort of wordings in Bhagavad Gita? We all know that verse. 10.8. Anyone remembers 10.8?
Aham sarvasya prabhu.
Age
Mata
matta
sarvam
sarvam pravartate
Iti
iti
bhajante.
matva bhajante
Bhajante
mam. So the same
Buddha.
thing is iti matva, one who knows that bhajante mam. What would they do? Bhajanti mam. Sasarvid bhajati mam. Bhajante mam. Same thing. Huh? Third line there, third line here. And then what was the last line of 10.8? Iti matva bhajante mam.
Buddha bhava
Buddha.
Buddha bhav samanvita. So bhav word is used there. Sarva bhavena bharata. Huh? Similar verse is there. So if you know Krishna as the Purushottama, you're asamudha, you're not in illusion, you're fully knowledgeable, you know sarvit, you know everything. There's nothing else needs to be known. Now you cannot say, what about, do you know the spelling of Czechoslovakia? I heard a joke. Anyway, so they said, yeah. Tell me the spelling of Czechoslovakia. It's not like that, huh? That cobbler didn't know any verse of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. He was still a great devotee of Lord Krishna. So, Sarvit, whatever needs to be known, that's been known. Prabhupada was walking on a beach somewhere with his disciples. And Prabhupada was looking at the beach and talking about Krishna. So one of the disciples asked, Prabhupada, does the spiritual master does any mistake? Prabhupada's answer was no. The spiritual master does not make any mistake. And say, but we see Prabhupada, he was very honest person. We see they also do some mistakes, and they also don't know many things. And also he asked, does he know everything? He said, yes. So he said, but we see they're making mistakes. They don't know many things. So, sorry, the actual question I just remembered. Is he a perfect being? That's what the question was. Is he a perfect being? Prabhupada said, yes, he's a perfect person. Who is a perfect devotee? Is a perfect being. So they said, no, but we see they don't know many things. So they make mistakes. And Prabhupada said, your definition of perfection is wrong. Your definition of perfection is wrong. Our perfection definition is Mr. Perfect, who's very young, good looking, and when he comes, everyone gets attracted to him. Something like, Mr. World or Miss World or whatever, something like that. So that's very wrong definition of perfection. Here, the perfection means he is perfect in pleasing the Lord. He is perfect in pleasing the Lord. Now, if pleasing the Lord means, he is able to recite verses, he will recite the verse. If pleasing Lord means he's able to make garland for the Lord, he is making garland for the Lord. It does not mean that he needs to know every single word in Oxford Dictionary. He needs to know every single language. He should know Chinese, Russian, Hindi. There's no need for that. So our definition of perfection in the material world, we can't impose that definition on a devotee. And that's why many times we misjudge devotees, many times, because we are judging from a material perception to the spiritual quality. Many times we say, oh, you're not a good devotee. Why? Because I'm seeing many failures in your life. But actually, hang on, that can be the perfect example of a devotee, because many failures, many material failures, can be the perfect platform for devotion. Can be. It doesn't have to be, but can be. So we should not have this material perception of a successful devotee. Judging a devotee is very difficult. Only a spiritual master can do that job. So sarvid has to be understood very properly from a spiritual perspective, not from a material perspective, that he knows everything. No, in that sense, only Krishna knows everything. And spiritual master is known to know everything what Krishna want him to know. That's very important, actually. Spiritual master doesn't know everything, but he knows everything what Krishna want him to know. What you have cooked into the kitchen, spiritual master may know, may not know. And it's not needed. It's not needed. Today you cooked, gajar ka halwa or suji ka halwa. If Krishna wants him to know, he will know. Huh? So not that Sarvid means he knows everything. It has to be read in a very proper perspective. Okay, last verse of this chapter. Very nice verse. Jamati Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Iti guhyatmama shastram.
Iti guhyatamam shastram.
Idam uktam maya naga.
Itam uktam maya naga.
Etad buddha buddhimanam.
Buddhiman syat. Etad buddhva buddhiman syat.
Etad buddhva buddhiman syat. Akrita krityascha bharata.
Kritakritascha bharata.
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures. O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, iti guhyatamam shastram. What does guhyatamam mean? Anyone can say?
Secret.
Secret is guhya. Tamam.
Topmost knowledge.
Most secret.
Topmost. Right? What are the three degrees? So guhya, guhyatara, guhyatama. Huh? So guhyatama means the topmost secret. So guhya is secret, topmost. So iti means whatever I've just explained. Guhyatamam shastra. This is the topmost secret, most confidential knowledge of the shastra. Idam uktam. Uktam means idam means this one. Uktam means to say maya, by me. It is said by me to anaga. Anaga means agha, anaga. Anaga means Arjun is anaga, sinless one. So Arjun is a sinless person. So I have just explained you to the most secret part of the Shastra. What is the secret part? Can anyone say? 1519 is the secret part. So if I go back, if you have to say what is this most secret part, this is Yo mam eva masamuro janati Purushottama. What's the definition of Purushottama? Go back 1518. Huh? So you can say all the verses are super nicely linked. So Krishna is a perfect sort of orator, writer. So Ida Muktamas, I've just spoken to the most secret that I am the Purushottama. And if you know that, you will serve me with all the bhavas. Etad buddhva buddhiman syat. So if you know this, that Krishna is a Purushottama, you are called buddhiman. But if you don't know this, you are a buddhu. Sorry. So you may be very buddhiman, you may have a lot of intelligence, you may have Nobel prizes, but can you call that person as a buddhiman? As per this verse, no, because he doesn't know Krishna as Purushottama. Huh? So the crux of all the Vedic literature is given in this particular verse. If you want to be called as a buddhiman, you should know this knowledge, this top secret knowledge. And Krit-Krityascha Bharata, and that person will, whatever endeavor he will do, will get perfection. Again, it has to be read properly, is not mean he will put his hand on the table and the table will become gold. That's not the point. Prabhupada said many people in India, they can produce sugar from the ashes or gold from the ashes. I am not a magician like that. There are many magicians like that. I'm not. And someone was asking this question to Prabhupada. So what sort of powers do you have? Yeah, this is what the question. What sort of powers do you have? And Prabhupada said, my power is, look at these hippies. Now these hippies have become happies. This is my power. So Prabhupada was not making gold chain from the ashes. He was creating gold heart. He said, I have converted these crows into swans. This movement is for conversion. What sort of conversion? I convert crows to swans. So we were also like a crows. I'm still a crow. Prabhupada is making us into swan. Rajhansa. Prabhupada is working very, very hard, but we are still very jiddi. Very awesome. Nahi badlenge. Huh? We will not change. We will not change. We are very jiddi, but Prabhupada is also jiddi. Prabhupada is like, I will make you change one day. So our grandfather is so nice. So he will, his endeavors will know perfection. That means whatever he will do in the service of Lord will be perfect, as we were discussing about Sarvaveda. So that concludes the 15th chapter. Now let's start the 16th chapter. As we know, the introduction of 16th chapter comes from 13th chapter, 1322, which is a Bija Vakya. And as we know, our Bhoktatve desire to enjoy acts like a seed. And then seed get nourished by 3 modes of material nature, which acts like a water. And then the tree comes out, which is the 15th chapter, and the 16th chapter, which is known as divine and the demoniac nature, which is the topmost or the bottommost part of the tree. So what is the divine? What is the demoniac? Now, although this chapter is known as divine and demoniac, in Sanskrit, the name is Dev Asur Sampad Vibhag Yoga. So Dev is divine, Asur is demoniac, Sampad means wealth, Vibhag Yoga. So there's a clear-cut distinction between the Sampada or the wealth of divine and the demoniac. What you consider as wealth, which we keep very close to our heart, isn't it? All of you have kept your dollars inside the cupboards or inside the bank with a secret password. Has anyone left it outside on the street? You put $100 on the street. Oh, this is rubbish. Huh? We all keep $100 very close to our heart. Huh? Or our passwords these days, you can say, very close to our heart, because that protects our wealth. So these people, whether divine or demoniac, keep these qualities very close to their heart. That's why this is called their sampada, or the wealth. Huh? The wealth of the divine and wealth of the demoniac. Now, what this wealth is, obviously, we're going to read. Yes, Rupa Prabhu.
Yes, bro. Bro, I have a question around this secret and confidential knowledge which Krishna is talking here. Bro, in few lectures, I've heard that the Mayavadis or other sampradayas, they accept Bhagavad Gita and the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So how do they see when they reach to this point, when they reach to chapter 15, where
so clear.
Yeah,
it's so clear.
So clearly and very transparent manner it's given. Yeah. And Krishna repeatedly talks about him.
He's saying, Tu Anya. He's saying, I'm beyond Chara, I'm beyond Akshara. There's an Anya category. I'm known as Paramatma.
Yeah.
It's just so clear verses. You're right.
Yeah.
How do they tackle this problem?
Yeah, and the last word where it's clearly saying that those who understand me are some
and they do bhajan of me, which is what Prabhupada says, devotional service, with all the bhavas, with all the emotions. It's so clear. There's no sort of concept of Bhagavad Gita. Once Prabhupada was also asked a similar sort of question, similar, if not the same, and Prabhupada was sort of a little upset. And he said, you just shut down, let Bhagavad Gita speak for itself. Huh? You don't have to give explanations. If you read the verses, Prabhu, if you know little Sanskrit, you can actually make out your own meaning. Obviously, it will not be perfect, but I'm saying Krishna is speaking so clearly. Ms. Prabhupada is not putting anything extra there, right? He's literally translating it. You can make out these words. Krishna is saying, you worship me. Yeah. They're not saying, oh, you are God, I'm God, everyone is God. And by the end of this life, you will go and merge. There's no merging concept here. Like so many places, Arjun is separate, Krishna is separate, and they will be separate. Krishna says to Arjun, Veda ham samtitani vartamana Arjun. I remember all the birth, but you don't remember. Huh? That means you are separate. You are me and not in this birth in any way. I remember all my births, you don't remember. Huh? So yes, Prabhuji, how do the Mayavadis tackle this problem? That's the question of Rupa Prabhu. I'll give you a simple answer, Prabhu. I've not read any Mayavad Bhagavad Gita, so I can't really give a live example. But what I have heard in lectures from ISKCON devotees, I can repeat that. So what I have heard from many speakers on this particular point, Rupa Prabhuji, they adopt word jugglery. And it's very difficult for them to explain these verses. And they do some word jugglery, and then they move on to those verses where this oneness things are there. And there are a few verses like that. You will find some in 6th chapter, Prabhuji, in 8th chapter as well. So they focus on those verses. And like we give references of 10.8, they give references of those. This is how they come around. But it's very hard for them. And Shankaracharya, as we know all, he also explained Bhagavad Gita, but he actually gave different bhajans towards the end of his life. Bhaj Govindam is one, which we know, and there are many more actually. Viraj Prabhu was actually quoting another poem by Shankaracharya. It's so beautiful, very beautiful, which I don't remember right now, so don't ask me. Anyway, so Shankaracharya not only wrote one, he wrote many, many poems proving his own commentaries were incomplete. We're not saying they're wrong. We're not saying that were incomplete. Like we're showing a half part of the picture, Prabhu. If you're a kid, right? Because you're not able to take it. So, but there's a completeness beyond it. That's the answer, Prabhu. So they do some world jugglery. And they just finish these verses quickly and they jump onto the other verses, which are very few in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Mahasa Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry to take you back to the previous chapter, but I just want to check the status as what Krishna is trying to explain in text number 17 when he's talking about the Paramatma level. So here, I'm talking about chapter 15, 17th verse, that is Uttama Purushastvanya Paramatmeti Udarita. So Krishna is talking about Paramatma level in this?
Yes.
Definitely is. But then is it that Krishna is talking like one should actually come to a level of Paramatma and worship him? Is that what he's saying? Or he's just explaining his stages that right from the Brahma, he goes on to the higher platform of Paramatma, and then one will realize the Lord only when it serves the Lord in chapter 19. Is that how we should read, or how it is?
So for just 1 minute, Prabhuji, forget the hierarchy part. Just read the verses again as it is, as the verses are saying. So first verse, 15, 16, he said, there are two types of living entities, right? Shara and Akshara. Finish that verse, right? Come to the next one. He said, Uttama Purusha tu Anyaha. There's third category, which is Uttama Purusha. So very clearly he is saying, beyond Shara and Akshara, there is another category. Very clearly. Forget the hierarchy here, Prabhuji. Forget Paramatma and all that, right? So just read the verse as it is, Prabhuji. Uttama Purusha. There's another Purusha who is Anya category. Anya means again, forget beyond here. Shara and Akshara, there's two categories, another category, right? And that category is known as Paramatma. What does he do? Lokatrem Avishya. He enters into all the three lokas. He Avishya. Vibharti. He is doing the maintenance. He is imperishable Lord. So basically, Krishna is talking in Upanishadic language here, or Vedantic language here. He's not saying as me. He's in third person. This is called third party reference. Soham. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. All these Vedanta sutras are given that they talk in a third party language. And that Krishna has done many times in Bhagavad Gita as well. He's talking in a third party language. But then he reconciles these two statements, 15:16 and 15:17, into 15:18. And he's saying, Yashmat Sharamati Toham Aksharat Api Chotma. Aham word is clearly used. Aham word is used here. Atosmi Loke Vedecha Prathita Purushottamaha. So he's reconciling those two statements. That third person, which is spoken in 15:17, it's Aham. It's me.
Okay.
So
because my question was on that only. Why didn't Krishna say Aham in text number 17? That was always confused when I was reading, and that was my first question.
And this is why it's called the essence of Vedanta. This is how Vedanta speak, and this is where Mayavadi interpret it differently. Like one sutra again, very popular. Soham. Soham means मैं वही हूँ. I am that. So I heard Mayavadi explanation as Vaishnava explanation. Mayavadi says Soham means I am that Brahman, I am that God. Soham. But actually, Vaishnava says Soham is correct. You are that, but what you are a servant. You were a servant. You are still a servant. Soham. So this is how they sort of do word journey. So many times Krishna has explained this sort of principles in a third party person, although he is referring to himself. But later he says that is me. So that to give a scope to them, they also read Bhagavad Gita and they come to the right conclusion. Sankarshan Maharaj was saying in one class, he's saying Krishna is speaking sometimes like that in a third party language. So he's being very inclusive. You want everyone to read Bhagavad Gita. And then when you read Bhagavad Gita, you'll come to the right conclusion. This is the way Krishna sort of tricks, not a trick, it's a very clear actually, but sort of bringing them inside that region that please come. I like you as well. I want you to get elevated as well. But in a very subtle way. Chaitanya Prabhu gives one nice example. He said there was a prince, a son of a king. He had some disagreements with his father. He said, "Ja raha hu main ghar chhod ke." I'm leaving my house. I'm quitting you, my dad. Anyway, he quit the house and he goes outside. But then after 8 hours, pet starts grumbling. Tummy was grumbling. and the weather starts getting very cold. He doesn't have any jacket, he doesn't have any food stuff, he doesn't have any money. Till yesterday everything was so, but man, I will not go back to my father, ego hai. A lot of ego is there. I will not go back to my father. Anyway, he's outside, he's just eating something here and there. He's a very miserable situation. Father understands what's my son's capacity, so he sends minister. And he says, my dear minister, you go in disguised form and employ this egoistic guy. So minister goes in a disguised form as a merchant and says, oh, you're looking for a job, I can give you a job. And he starts paying some salary, and this prince starts feeling good. See, I can live without my father. Really? You're living without your father, but this person who's giving you salary is sent by your father only. And slowly this minister sort of reveals that actually, this whole scheme was planned by your father. I'm working for your father. The money I give you, that's given by your father. So it's like that. So Krishna is very smart father in that sense, and he loves all the children. So even if we have a lot of ego, I will never worship Krishna. Krishna said, no problem at all. You can still read Bhagavad Gita. And they read Bhagavad Gita. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, let's go to the 16th chapter. So now 16th chapter, I'll just go to MIHE guide quickly. So it's a small chapter, one of the small chapter, 24 verses, not such a big chapter. Here it says only 3 verses, which I can show on the screen, describes the qualities of the divine. Rest whole chapter, except the last 2 verses, actually describe the demoniac. So the chapter name is divine, and the demoniac is primarily taken up by demoniac qualities and tendencies and what the results are. So first 3 verses describe the divine qualities, and the rest of the chapter, except the last 2, which we'll read here. Basically, Krishna is giving a choice here. And as Chaitanya Prabhu says many times, Bhagavad Gita is a book of choices. It's not a book of commandments, as Bible is like a, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. Bhagavad Gita always gives choices. Krishna is very loving father. So if you choose the right path, you will go and get liberation. If you choose the wrong path, you will get degraded. So that's what Krishna will say in the final 2 verses. And that's all the verses basically describing about the demoniac qualities. So let's start reading the first one. Is Vijaya Mataji around? If she is there. Sorry for all the complex things. We take shelter of Mother Vijaya.
Sorry, Prabhu. Yeah, good.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Abhayam Sattva Samsuddhir
Abhayam Sattva Samsuddhir
Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti
Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi
Danam Damascha Yagnascha
Danam Damascha Yagyascha
Swadhyayastapa Arjavam.
Swadhyayastapa Arjavam.
Continue.
Yes, please, Mataji.
Ahimsa Satyam Akrodhas
Ahimsa Satyam Akrodhas
Tyaga Shantir Apaisunam
Tyagaha Shantir Apaishunam
Daya Bhutvesha Aloluptam
Daya Bhutveshu Aloluptvam
Mardhavam Hriri Achapalam
Mardvam Hir Achapalam
Teja Kshama Dhriti Shaucham
Tejaha Shama Dhritihi Saucham
Adroho Nati Manita
Adroho Nati Manita
Bhavanti Sampadam Devim
Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim
Abijatasya Bharata.
Abhijatasya Bharata.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom for covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belongs to godly men endowed with divine nature.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, they're the three verses Prabhupada has put together because all three describes the qualities of the divine people. So we'll start from the bottom. So Abhijatasya. So Abhijatasya, Prabhupada writes says born with. Ja means Janma, Abhijatasya. So one who is born with these qualities. Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim. So their Sampada is divine and they are born with it. It says when a person is born and sort of develops, he gets a particular nature. And the nature is affected by, it says, three things. So first is his own nature, like, previous janmas, impressions he will have. Every child you will see is different. He will have certain tendencies which parents will know. If they have, say, 2 children or 3 children, they will know. Bada wala aisa tha, chota wala aisa hai. The elder one was like that and the younger one is like that. The parents will know. So it's a particular nature, they're liking or disliking. And this says the second one which impacts their nature. When I say nature of this life is nurture. Nurture means the family environment which they are brought up in. So their immediate family gives a particular, some people eat a lot of tikha. So children will start also eating tikha. Although initially they may resist. And again, some people may not. Like I know one family where a child became vegetarian at the age of 8. All the parents and everyone ate meat. But he just naturally didn't like it. And at the age of 8, he said, no, now he's a grown-up kid. And he explains that I left meat eating at the age of 8. I just naturally, he wasn't a Krishna devotee or anything, just naturally didn't like it. All the parents was sort of trying to give him meat. Anyway, so there's a nature which is coming from the previous birth, and there's a nurture, and there's a culture. Culture means the culture which we are brought in. Suppose you are in an Indian culture. India also have North Indian culture, South Indian culture. There will be a Kula Devata where you go and seek blessings, for example. Every family traditions, you can say, they also impact the child. A father may be a drunkard, for example, and he's coming home with all these foul language. So they will also impact. Or father may be a devotee. Prabhupada says, my father will come late when we were almost sleeping, but I will hear the bell. When Prabhupada's father will come home, so Prabhupada said, we were sleeping, but we'll hear the bell. My father is ringing the bell. And sometimes Prabhupada said, I will go and run towards my father and sit, and he's doing arti. Late night, he's doing arti. So all these things are called nurture, and there's a culture. Like I'm looking at Rupam Prabhu, will have a Durga Ji ka culture in Bengal, for example, prominently. And there are some Marathi, Ujjwala Mataji or Akhandosa Prabhu, Marathi will have Ganesh Ji culture. This is called culture. Now your family may be a Krishna devotee, but your culture, if you go outside, so much Ganeshi. Is Ganesh Chaturthi still going on? Jamati Mata, I'm not sure. It's still going on. Okay, so good example. I didn't know about it, but anyway, it just came to my mind. So Durga Ji in Navratra is coming, so it will be very, very prominent in that culture. So nature, nurture, and culture, these sort of impacts the person, but it says all of them together as well does not determine your nature. Again, nature means this person nature. They can shape your nature. Shape means they can influence your nature. Like again in Bengal, I'm not sure, maybe many people eating meat and many people having fish. It does not necessarily mean every single Bengali is eating meat. It's not necessarily mean, but it can influence many people that machli, what they call jal tori, that's what they call something
Fruit
like
that. It's a fruit of
fruit of water.
Water, yeah.
Fruit of water, something like that. Fruit of water. So much blood. No fruits has blood. Anyway.
They call it Ramfar.
Ramfar.
Yeah. Fruit of Ram.
Fruit of Ram. Acha, Ram ko bhi mila diya.
I'm just converting what Mataji said.
Okay.
I've not heard that, but if you in general,
anyway, I'm sure they will have all the justification to eat meat through God as well. Anyway, so if we understand the point here, so all these they can shape our nature, how I respond to others, but they don't necessarily. Many Russians, for example, majority of them eat meat. Not necessarily every Russian is a meat eater, not like that. I'm just giving one example. Huh? So whole society, the family, immediate family, and the person's own nature, which he has born with, can define his nature. But again, this is always reversible. We can change it. We can change it for good. Huh? So let's see what those things are, which Krishna expects in a divine person's nature. So we'll start from the first one now. Although this is just a verse or a couple of verses here, but our acharyas have given beautiful commentaries and they have divided, categorized these verses. So we'll read the translation and then we'll read some categories of those acharyas' commentaries. So abhayam means fearlessness. Now, do you think fear is a good quality or a bad quality? How many people say it's a good quality? Fear is a good quality. Or fear is very bad?
Can be a good quality.
Can be a good quality. Are you like fearful people?
No,
we should be fearful of Maya.
about forgetting
Fearful of
Krishna.
Maya. Forgetting
Forgetting.
Krishna. Okay. What else?
So
Is
it
fear
should be balanced.
balanced? Acha. For a political statement. Balanced.
Sometimes fear is necessary.
Can you give an example, please?
As Mataji said, fearful of Maya, fearful of
Yaar, forget
your
God. Just give me a normal
Yes, Prabhu,
example.
fear
Is
should
fear
be
good
there
or bad?
because
entire student life you study only because of fear of exams or fear of failure, right? So that time fear is
My students always bring the point to the exam. Huh? No problem. Chalega. I also studied because of fear.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're crossing road, a Pacific highway or some sort of highway, is fear good or bad? It's very good. So in general, even if you don't take Krishna into account, fear actually is a good quality if used properly. Now, if you use fear in such a way, you never cross the road. Just in case, the green light is on, everyone is stuck, but I will not cross. Huh? I'm very fearful. Just in case a car does not stop, then it's bad. Huh? So, as Rupam Prabhu said, fear used in a balanced way is good. Even in material life, fear is needed. You are living on a 10-story building, you go to the terrace. Prabhupada said that, so I'm just repeating 10 or 20 mala, whatever. But Prabhupada said, when you go on the terrace of a very skyscraper building, your mind says jump and your intelligence says don't. Your intelligence says don't. The mind want to experiment. Intelligence saying don't experiment. We will not be able to report it, how this experiment was. Huh? So fear has its own place in life, and many fears are very, very good. But if you're always living in a fearful state, that's not needed. That's not needed. Huh? So that's just general. Now, what is Abhaya here is talking about? So Abhaya does not mean you're not fearful. So, a sannyasi is also crossing the road very carefully. So no vehicle hit his body because it's your duty to protect your body. So fear has its own place and we can have a whole debate on it. Anyway, what Abhaya means, fearlessness does not mean you have no fear of anything. Fearlessness means you have such a great connection with Krishna. In connection with Krishna, you feel the normal people, they fear about, I may lose my job, I may lose my health, I may lose my house, I may lose my beloved ones. That person is not fearful about because he has such a great, intense connection with Krishna. So in connection with Krishna, normal fear become very dwarf. That is called fearlessness. It does not mean stupidity. It does not mean stupidity. Huh? There's a saying in English, angels fear where fools rush in. Angels fear, huh? If there's a fire, you say, no, I don't want to go. There's a fire there. Are yaar, chalo. I heard in a debate in Kids Janmashtami, just for a debate purpose. They're saying, are you a chicken? That means, are you fearful? No. Someone can say you're a chicken. Yes, I'm a chicken. There's a fire there. I don't want to go there. That's intelligence. Chalo, kuch nahi hota. Not like that. Huh? So fear has its own importance. We are not denying that. But what the fearlessness he has spoken about is in connection with Krishna. So we are not fearful about what will happen if I lose my job tomorrow. What will happen if I lose some part of my health tomorrow? Huh? I'm remembering my Guru Maharaj, he was fully aware of what's happening in his body. He did not take even one painkiller throughout the year. Not even one painkiller. Huh? That's called fearlessness. Not that he did not feel the pain. He said, okay, I will jump from here. Nothing like that. He was very planned. One example, and there are many more. Maharaj Parikshit was fearless about Takshak. So they had such a great connection with Krishna. That's called Abhaya. Sattva Samsuddha. Sattva means existence, Samsuddha means purification. So this person is trying to purify his existence. Prabhupada writes in the purport, and actually I wanted to read a few portions, but we're always running out of time anyway. So he said, we have to purify our existence from lust. He said, lust takes a lot of space in our mind. So we have to purify our existence from lust. That's one is stopping us in the material world. It says there are invisible bars. And what's the bars made up of? Lust. So those lust stops us to go back to Krishna many times. Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi. So he's always cultivating knowledge. Now our acharyas explain these qualities, first two lines, are the primary qualities for a sannyasi. So they're obviously generic for everyone, but they're primarily for a sannyasi. Sannyasi is abhay. Like, sannyasi doesn't have a family, doesn't have a job, he doesn't have a firm house as well. Sannyasi keeps moving. Says sannyasi, whatever direction he gets up, he should just walk in that direction. Whatever is sent Krishna that day, he accepts as prasada by me. If Krishna doesn't send anything, he's fasting, happily fasting, not grudgingly fasting. Krishna, you remember I've taken sannyas? Where is my prasadam? He's happily fasting. So abhay word is used. Sattva Samsuddha, there is always abhay. He's definitely have no lust in it. And he's always cultivating knowledge because he has to give this knowledge to others so that they can go back to Godhead. Now, this does not mean we should not practice these qualities, but primarily it is for sannyasis. Danam damasya yagyasya. He said these qualities are for grihasthas. Grihastha should do dan. It does not mean sannyasi doesn't do dan, not like that, but grihastha must do dan. It says Grihastha ashram maintains the other three ashramas because they're not working. So Grihastha should give generously. The 10% is the minimum, not the maximum. It's minimum. They should look after sannyasis, brahmacharis, and vanaprasthis because they don't go and earn money. Damas means they should do sense control. Now, although they are grihasthas, but as Prabhupada said many times, Grihastha ashram is not a free license for sense gratification. Grihasthas are also very sense restrained. They should be sense restrained. Yagyas, they should do yagya. Now Prabhupada writes, this age, although they are supposed to do many yagyas like Agnihotri yagya, and there are other yagyas mentioned, but in Kali Yuga, they are supposed to do Sankirtan yagya. So they should dedicate their time, money, energy for this yagya, Sankirtan yagya. Swadhyay, this is the quality for brahmacharis. Again, primarily, you cannot say, I'm a grihastha, so I don't read. No, we only read once in a week, 2 hours. That's also difficult. People are already also thinking, ye kab rukenge? Hemanga Chaitanya ji. I can go and attend to my 50 other tasks. 2 hours joining a class online, sitting at home. It also seems very, very difficult. So Swadhyay, primarily for brahmachari. Swadhyay means reading of Shastra. Tapa is for vanaprasthi. So if you have taken vanaprastha or in that ashram, some austerity should be added because as in grihastha life we get many comforts. We are sitting nicely, we have some savings, we have some family members, we have some connection, and that's okay. But when you go towards the vanaprastha, some tapa, some austerity should be added in the life. Volunteer austerity, some simplicity in life. Arjun says the quality of, now he has explained the quality of ashramas. Now he's explaining the qualities of varnas. Varnas refers to Brahman, Kshatri, Vaishya, and Shudra. It starts from Brahman. So he explained the first 2 lines is for sannyasis, second line for grihasthas, third line for grihasthas, fourth line, first 2 is for brahmacharis and vanaprasthis, Now it starts from Brahman. Brahman should be Arjava. Arjava means simple. Brahman should not be complex. Brahman should be simple. Now you cannot say this quality for a Kshatriya. Ahimsa, non-violence, is a quality of a Brahman. It does not mean Grasthas can do Hinsa. Again, Grasthas may do some Hinsa, as we know. All the Grasthas commit 6 types of sin every day. By default, it's not they are doing it. This happens. Huh? So Brahman should do non-violence. Satyam, he should always be very truthful. Akrodhas, he should not be unnecessarily angry. Tyagaha, he does tyag. Tyag means he accepts whatever is needed. A Brahman, suppose, receives in charity 10 chapatis, he only needs 4 chapatis for survival. What should he do with the 6? Put in the fridge. That's what Grasthas do. Put it in the fridge. Everything goes in fridge. Huh? Someone was saying in Hindi, हम सब सड़ा हुआ खाना खाते हैं. Fridge से निकला हुआ 1 month old sweets and 10 days old vegetables. In olden days, there was no fridge and life was so simple and so nice. Fresh rotis we had, fresh sabji we had. Anyway, tyaga. So Brahman does tyag. He's not hesitant in doing tyag. He takes whatever he needs, 2 or 4 chapatis. Rest he donates in the evening. Krishna will send. If he doesn't send, I will fast. Shantir Prabhupada writes as tolerance. He tolerates. Huh? Again, these qualities are for specific varna. Apashanam refers to no fault finding. Now, this is a very great quality. Now, this is for everyone. Now, all the qualities are for everyone. Apashanam is a great quality, no fault finding. Bhakti Thakur, I was reading somewhere, was saying even for the material people, we should not criticize. Even for material people, what to speak of devotees. In another lecture I heard from Maharaj, he said we should not even think bad qualities of others. If you speak, definitely wrong, but even not thinking, and I was sort of contemplating on this line, what level these Maharajas have, what level. He said you should not even think bad qualities of others. We're not saying it doesn't exist. So Ravana has done something bad, so we're not saying, no, Ravana has done something right. No, we're not saying that. But we as a seekers, as a sadhakas, not thinking unless it's needed. It's a job. Now, Kshatriyas have to do that. A spiritual master will find fault in his disciples for his growth. Many times when we talking about these fault findings, we take pleasure in ninda, in criticism. That's wrong. That's wrong. Daya bhuteshu. For all the jivas, we should have daya. Aloluptam. Lolup means greed. Aloluptam means no greed. We should not have any greed. It does not mean we cannot work. We cannot work as a greedy person. Prabhupada said you work 6 to 8 hours a day. Whatever you get, you just be satisfied with that. Huh? No, today I can work extra 5 hours and get another $100. Okay, maybe in extreme situation, you may have to do that to finish up a project. It should not be a continuous process. Mardvam. Mardvam means you lead a modest life. Modest life means as per your status. Maharaj said, if you need a BMW, you get a BMW. Not a big thing about it. Don't dream BMW. For your job, you may be a very big merchant and you need those sort of things to show off to others that, you are in that status. You may need it. Don't dream about it. Oh, I don't have BMW. That devotee has a BMW or my neighbor has a BMW. Mardvam, Hrid. Sorry, Mardvam is gentle. I'm sorry. So Mardvam is gentleness. So you lead a gentleman life or a gentle lady life, and Hrid refers to modest. Huh? So your lifestyle should be modest. Again, it's not saying you should not have any furniture in your house. No, modest. A simple one. If you need a sofa set or a car or a whatever iPad, get it. It should be simple. Should not distract you from a higher goal. Achapalam. So chapal refers to chanchal, flickering. Achapal means one who is stable. And you should be stable in all aspects of your words. If you say something, you should mean it. It's not raat gai, baat gai. Whatever I said last night, that's gone. Not like that. Or in other aspects of your life, should be stable. You're going to do some devotional service in the temple. You commit, you do it. I will come for cooking for Radha Gopinath on Tuesday. Go for it. Oh, I'm very tired today. I can't go. That's not acceptable. Eh? And some devotees sometimes they don't even inform. When Pujari was telling he was going to offer, and he looked into the kitchen at 6:30 or 6:40 his offering goes. He said, I don't hear anything. He went in 6:30. The cook hasn't even come, hasn't informed. Now, Pujari, what he's going to offer to Gopinath? Just imagine the pressure they have. Huh? In 10 minutes, this Pujari had to do something. That's bad. Sorry. We are not fault finding, but this is not good. Huh? You have committed for all the good reasons. You can't go inform as soon as possible. Huh? So other persons can do something. Gopinath offering cannot be missed and also cannot be compromised. Huh? I've heard in Juhu many incidents on that. Devotees unnecessarily put pressure on other devotees. Huh? We should help them, not cause tension to them. I'll do this quickly and then we can stop. Just 2 lines. Teja. Teja is the quality of Kshatriya. So Kshatriya should have Teja. Huh? It's not like very simple, modest, like a Bhikhari. He should have Teja. Shama. Shama is forgiveness. Huh? So forgiveness, again, it can apply to all the varnas and ashramas. Appropriate Shama, not inappropriate Shama. Dhrati. Dhrati means determined. Kshatriya never shows their back in the battlefield. For example, in Manu Smriti says, a Brahman who is hesitant to take bath in the month of January, Magh Mahina, it says, with the cold water, he is not a Brahman, and a Kshatriya who shows his back in the battlefield is not a Kshatriya. Huh? What sort? Many devotees on this call are Brahman initiated. I'm not sure this definition fits on us. But that's the definition, very hard for us. Even if you go in the bathroom and attend Mangala Aarti, that itself seems very difficult job with the hot water. But they are the very, very high standard people. Anyway, Socham. Socham is Suchi, clean. And Prabhupada said, clean inside and out. Outside, he or she wears clean clothing, and inside his or her mind is clean, not thinking unnecessarily about other things. Adroho. No droha from Shastra means, again, following the Shastra. Adroho means many manta. I don't believe. No, adroho. Huh? No, we believe. Na atimanita is not expecting the man from others. Huh? So again, Chaitanya Prabhu said very poetically in one class, he said, we can accept the man, we can accept the respect, but we don't expect the respect. Expect means, no one has said my class was good. After the class, I've done so much hard work. People hasn't given me, Prabhu, kya class diya aapne? Or kirtan, or cooking, or DT dressing, or whatever. Huh? That means we are expecting man. That a devotee should not do. You have done your seva as per the best of your capacity. Krishna should be pleased, Guru should be pleased. That's how our mentality should be. And we should think, Krishna, I hope I have not done any mistake. I have not displeased you by my service. Huh? Rather than looking to the audience, he hasn't come and given me a pad. How great your class was, or how great your service was. No, but we can accept the man. That means, Prabhu, you have done a very nice service for Krishna. We take it and give it to our Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for making me an instrument for this seva. By this, devotees are pleased. In that way, it's fantastic. You thank the devotee, you thank your Guru, thank to Krishna, because you have been used as an instrument in that service which please the devotees. You may have done a fantastic cooking. That's great. You are happy with my cooking? Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. And inside your mind, you're thanking Krishna. Thank you, Radharani. Thank you for making nice sabji. This devotee liked it. I'm so happy. Like a mother. Mother becomes happy when the kids are happy. So you be like a mother. You be like that instrument, a transparent via media, Prabhupada said. And then you can be very happy and thank Krishna and thank the devotee. Thank you for liking my bhindi ka sabji or whatever. And you can be very happy in that mode and still be a perfect devotee. Okay, I'll stop here. If you have any questions, we can definitely take it next time. And then we'll start from the demoniac qualities from next time. I'll give to Sundar Gopal Prabhu for 1 minute and then we can stop.
Hare Krishna, Rohan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Couple of announcements and then probably a few maybe questions to everyone, just to get your gauge of everyone's opinion. So we've got a few things coming in the next few weeks. We've got a seminar from Chaitanya and Prabhu, like I floated the message on the group. So, and then we've got the Damodar month coming soon. End of October it starts. So the proposal is to continue the classes on Wednesdays for the rest of the year, if that suits everyone.
Yeah, that's what we are about to ask, Prabhu, actually. If we can continue with the Wednesday class.
Okay, so with everyone on the call, is everyone okay?
Yes, Prabhu. I would prefer Wednesday over Sunday. It just allows Sunday, free Sunday, and then we can attend.
And there are
go
many
to the
festivals
temple and
coming,
other.
many guest speakers coming, and I know in this batch many devotees like to go to temple and attend. So at least for Damodar Mas and this time we can do that. But I'm flexible both ways. Whatever majority prefers, I'm happy to do that.
We are okay with
We are
Wednesday.
okay with Wednesday. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Wednesday is very good, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Looks
Very
like
good. Okay, I'm very happy to hear. Very good.
It's fine from me.
Okay, all devotees sort of agree. Now we know that some devotees may have difficulty, and we fully respect your commitments. But we'll try
weekends
our
are
best
actually
to.
very busy with the services and other things. So Wednesday is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
Looks
actually helps.
like majority
It actually helps during the Damodar
Okay,
Mas,
so
Prabhu. It will be good.
okay.
yes, Damodar Mas definitely is going to be Wednesday. But okay, so Sundar Gopal Prabhu, one thing sorted out till the end of this year.
Okay.
Wednesday.
So the next one will be saying till the end of the year. So the proposal is to have the last class in this year on the 13th of December, because a lot of devotees do have travel plans. So that's the proposal that we have. So
is that okay? So even if you're in somewhere in the India or something, you still attend, but we'll have 4 weeks gap. So you can enjoy your family time or yatra time, whatever it may be. So is that okay with everyone? So 13th we stop, and after 4 weeks we restart in January, whenever it is.
Mid-January we start again.
Yeah, something like that, Mataji. So 13th December we do the last class, and after 4 weeks, whatever the date is, I don't know, we sort of restart.
January or so, 10th or 17th, whatever it.
Yeah, I prefer 4 weeks rather than 5 weeks, because I know we can never sort of put everyone together. Someone may still be overseas, but try to join overseas if you can. India is behind the time. So I think if you try, you can. And the third one, Prabhuji, Sundar Gopal Prabhu.
The next one was about the seminar for Chaitanya and Prabhu that I've already sent the message. So the message's been sent. It's on the 15th. So if you would like, please register as soon as you can, so you don't miss out on
The
that.
reason we have sent that to all the devotees, because we usually don't send any flyers in this particular group, but this relates to Bhakti Shastris. That's why we are sending, and Prabhu is specifically doing a class the following Wednesday. I can't remember, 18th or 19th something. And we have asked you the topic as well. So it relates to Bhakti Shastri, is being targeted like that. So if you could attend, it's in Epping. It's a very central location. I've registered myself. It's a 5-hour seminar. Lunch prasada will be provided by temple. And Chaitanya Charan Prabhu is very dear to everyone, I'm sure. So if you could, please come and attend. Even if you attend one part of it, like pre-lunch or post-lunch, please try. It's only $20 donation to temple. So it's very, very reasonable. So try, if you can make it, please register fast. I think they have 120 space, if I'm not wrong. So I got the flyer, I immediately registered even before sending it out. So if you could, and there's a kids room as well. I'm also taking my kids. So if you have kids, no problem. Your kids can do some activities in the next room. So if you want, please register yourself, and you can bring any sincere friends as well at this stage. Okay, Sundar Prabhu, done?
I think those were the ones that I had.
Okay, and the last one, I think picnic has been called off because at the moment we don't have enough devotees to attend to. I don't know when, but we'll plan maybe after Bhakti Shastri. We've been planning since 1 year. We haven't got one consensus. Maybe after Bhakti Shastri we'll have. Anyway, we'll try next year again after Mod 3 exam, which is supposed to happen in Feb, March sometime. Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you all for joining the mid call. Jagannath
Hare
Baldev
Krishna.
Subhadra
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam.
Srila
Krishna,
Prabhupada
thank
ki
you,
jai,
Prabhu.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Gaur
Jai.
Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
See you
Krishna.
next Wednesday.